Melling to break first. Time running.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Players Pool and Snooker Lounge in Newcastle under Lyme, or Stoke-on-Trent. We're here to watch the, we're basically wrapping up the losers round one. A couple of games that were due to be played last night, but got delayed for various reasons. And the one that we're bringing you is a bonus game. We weren't due to start streaming start playing until 11 o'clock this morning, so we put in a bit of a bonus session, and what a bonus it is as well. You get a chance to watch the magician, Chris Melling, playing against one of his old adversaries in Wayne Fryer. Not the start that Chris would have been looking for. So both players had a quick knock before they got going. So they both should have their arm in. Joining me on commentary this morning is Lee Kendall. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning.
So, one player that's going to be very recognisable to the viewers in Chris Melling. Another player that probably not so recognisable unless you've been on the pool scene for a number of years. Wayne Fryer's been away from the game now for 20 years, but he was a bit of a player in his time, wasn't he?
Bit of a player indeed. He was number one ranked player on the IPA when it was all together.
Yeah. And
he was battling with myself, Keith Brewers, Steve Sanders, all the names of the time.
Yeah.
But he played the old EPA rules. They were very, very defensive, but he played them just like he was playing these rules.
Yeah.
So he stood out as a big potter and a great shot maker.
You see another one there. Just I was watching him just beforehand, having a little warm up, and just had a chat to him. And he said that he's had a 20-year break from the game. Basically, he took a year out and then just never missed it. And I think he's started watching it again, all the streams and the big comps, and it kind of gave him the hunger again to get back to the table. So it's good to see the players coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, he was a big loss to the game. I mean, it's going to be a big ask for him to come back after that time, and any sportsman to come back after that time is a big ask. It's not a fitness sport, is it? But it's just the pressure that, you miss that match practice, and to gain that back.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the conversation I just had with him, because he had a big game last night against Lee Clough, and he said he was really nervous early doors, and it was just a gritty battle between the two of them, which went to Hill. Lee won at 11-10, but Wayne said he had some chances, and he just doesn't feel like he's match fit. He's had no match practice whatsoever, so it's going to take him a little time to get back into the game.
Oh, definitely, and he needs to go deep. So it's a tough school to go deep in as well. So if you can get two or three rounds, then you'll feel like he's in the tournament. Then at the minute, he's just like battling himself rather than anything else.
He's definitely thrown himself into the lion's den, hasn't he? He could have maybe gone on a couple of the tours and kind of got himself warmed up, but he's coming in at the top. So I think we're going to maybe see a combo from him here, or attempted combo. It's one of those shots that he can almost play as a shot to nothing. So he's going to look to pop both of these balls, but if the red does stay up, it's not going to be a disaster, is it? It would just be loss of turn, and he's going to have that pocket.
Yeah, that wasn't very good. He's played it with screw, so you guarantee the other ball would follow through to make the combination. But I think he could have just stunned it and still got the same effect. But now he's going to have to check this one in. And come and I didn't like the shot, to be honest. Especially on a new cloth as well, it's going to slide as it's a cushion.
But uncharacteristically, he's probably had more chances in this frame than you would normally expect from Chris Melling. Chris has missed a couple of balls already, but Chris was just saying actually that he was out late last night. He was doing an exhibition up in Bolton, so he's left the club, gone up to Bolton. I think he's played 45 frames, then done a half an hour of trick shots, and then driven home and got home at 3:30 in the morning, and then he's back here for 9 o'clock ready to go. So he's going to be. I mean, I know he'll be used to the long hours, but they do catch up on you after a while, don't they?
They do, and he's got to get back into the tournament mode. He lost his first match, a tough match against Callum, and it's a long road back now to the loser's side.
That's a good shot.
So a scrappy first frame. Both players had chances, but it's Chris Melling that's going to take the opening frame.
Morning to Adam Penwell, watching in his pit.
Kapow, good morning. Yeah, if you fancy a bet online, it's you're sat at home. Our online bookmaker is k8.com. There's a link on our Players Pool Events Facebook page. Follow that and that'll take you straight to it, the registration page.
And you see the other sponsors scrolling through. Thank you very much to all of those, PPV Guru, to the Winning Post, and also to our title sponsors, to Liberty Games, to the Supreme Pool Series, and to Aramuth and Strachan.
Yeah, unfortunately this weekend it's fell on the Grand National, so it's a really busy one for the bookmakers, and our resident bookmaker from the Winning Post is Jed Ronan. His bread and butter is the Grand National, and he's unfortunately for us, not for him.
Yeah.
He's fully committed on that.
Yeah.
But he's still sat at home and working the odds out for us. No better man for that job with his experience of all the events we've run.
Yeah, I think, has he priced up the 11 a.m. session?
Yeah, they're all priced up.
So
and they're on K8
They're
as
all
well.
on K8, yeah. So go across to k8.com and have a browse of the prices in that 11 o'clock session. There's some very interesting games coming up. In fact, there is a poll on the Players Pool Events page for your choice of games. And we put up a couple of highlights. So you've got Phil Harrison versus Jordan Shepherd to choose from, and the other one was Tom Cousins against Jake McCartney. So if you have a preference of which game you want to see on this arena table, then please do find that vote on the Players Pool Events page and vote for Phil Harrison versus Jordan Shepherd.
Yeah, I think we're going to shut that about 10 o'clock. I know I've had a few messages come from Australia saying because of the time zone they've struggled. Because not only do they want to vote, but they have to be a member to vote.
Of course, yeah.
So they're sending the message through. We were asleep, and they
Yeah.
say, no, we really want to have a vote on the match, but you've got to accept us first. So I said, oh, okay, 10 o'clock, and then we'll announce to everybody where we're at.
I must admit, I've obviously got a vested interest to watch Sheppy against Phil Harrison, but that Tom Cousins Jake McCartney game, that's going to be a cracker as well. As I said during the Calcutta, Jake's not over here to make up numbers. He is a very, very adept player, and he had a couple of good results yesterday as well, so that will be a cracking game.
There's a lot of good rounds in that winner's second round.
Yeah.
I think you've got Declan against Carl Boys. Ronan's another good one.
Rob Chilton, Lee Clough is another good matchup. Mark Boyle against Darren McVicker. Doesn't get any easier for Darren, does it, after beating Liam Dunster yesterday? His prize is to play Mark Boyle, another Scotsman.
Yeah, it was a horrible little section. Certainly if you're not Mark Boyle or Liam Dunster, because you've got to play both of them.
Yeah.
For them, they'd be thinking they've got to play each other.
Yeah.
But Liam got beat by Darren, and Darren must be playing well. I mean, you put a couple of videos out there of his finishes, so...
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, there's a great clearance by Darren from yesterday's session. And of course, Liam was in another tough game last night. Meanwhile, this is a nice clearance from Wayne. Yeah, so Liam played a hill game last night against Scott Crawley, and broke dish in the decider. So that was another tough game for him, and that was going on until very late last night.
That camera shot, I have to praise the boys on that. That's a perfect shot. Shows the Supreme Pool Series and the Supreme Table.
Yes.
Very well.
Yeah, there are some fantastic camera shots around the arena, and the table just looks fantastic with the red wrap and blazing with the Supreme Pool Series logos.
Yeah, I spent a few hours designing that. I think it was probably about the 6th attempt. We had all sorts of colours, and in the end we plumped for the red. I think Paul, part of our team, was a big advocate to go to a different colour, and I think he chose red. So we chose a deep red, so one out to Paul.
No, it was definitely me.
Yeah.
I'm taking credit for that one.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Paul's claiming credit for it, but I mean we can go back on the chat and have a look at who said red first, shall we?
Paul said he did actually call me saying let's just change the colour. So.
All right. So we both thought of it at the same time, did we? That's what happened. Again, another mistake from Chris.
I feel the worst for Chris in this match because he just doesn't look
at the races, does he?
Doesn't look focused,
Yeah.
and you know we're talking about match practice, and Wayne would need it, but he's going to give it to him if he.
The thing is, I always say it about Chris, and it's definitely not a criticism because he is, at the top of the game, but he seems to spread himself thin. Last week, last night he was playing here yesterday. Last night went and did an exhibition. Last few days ago he was in Gibraltar, and last week he was in China. I mean, he's just constantly travelling, and it does take its toll. And especially just jumping from, he's jumped from Chinese 8-ball straight into American 9-ball, straight into English 8-ball. And, when you're coming up against players like Callum Singleton, who is match fit, who's practicing constantly on the table.
Oh, definitely, it's odd. I mean, he's always been able to do it, don't get me wrong. He's a great Q Sports player, whether it be snooker, pool, 9-ball, Chinese 8-ball. He's always played at the highest level, but it takes you a while to settle into a tournament, and I think they've both been making mistakes, which will probably help Chris a little bit to get going, and the fact that Wayne is so attacking probably will help him, whereas if he's playing Callum, he's attacking, but he's a clever pool player, and he sees the shots quicker, and with Wayne being out of the game, he may just miss the odd trick or two.
I think he's run out of shape here. He may be able to play this end red off of the one to the left, just graze it. Yeah, that's what he tried.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of movement in Wayne. He didn't used to have that sort of body movement, so it is going to be a big ask for him to get back into the top level of the game, and there's no better place to do it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
When he comes to these events, it'll certainly help him if he goes in some lesser events where he's going to get more time to settle.
It's a nice opener from Chris.
But if you look at his draw as well, first game up Lee Clough, Lee doesn't give you anything.
No.
So you have to scrape Lee off the table, and then you've got the opposite where Chris, if he goes on a mission, you're dragging him by his coattails.
Just finished a tiny bit straight on this.
Under another set of rules, you'd probably just drop the pocket and just wait, but under these rules, it's just no good because you can just clip off the red and put the yellow in. So it forces you to attack. I mean, he could play this yellow in off the red, play it thin to get his angle. I'm not sure if you can screw out or top out, but you can certainly gain an angle the other way.
Just took his medicine, didn't he?
Yeah. That's one thing with Chris, you'll notice, he's not frightened to lead himself long.
And he can kind of play this as a shot to nothing as well. Just drop it up the rail and if he misses, he's not going to leave too much for Wayne, or shouldn't leave too much. Just needs to run through and hide this red over the bottom corner pocket. But no such thoughts in Chris's mind of playing any kind of contingency. Just go full out for the pot. Still got his work cut out a little bit. He's
well, he could play the 3-ball plant.
yeah,
if he
I was
going
to mention the 3-ball plant, and that's what he's looking at now.
So I think he's playing the next shot where he could just play like the billiard rather than the yellow onto it. Off ball the yellow and let the white can in the red. Just wouldn't. He's still looking that way. He probably thinks the yellow's going to stay off the cushion playing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not too much. If he plays it at the right pace, there's not too much that can go wrong with this. Well, he's just not found the line.
Yeah, I didn't really like that shot. I think it was more about the positional side rather than making the pot. Frustrating man. But one thing you notice with Wayne, or something I've known about him throughout the years, is he doesn't give anything away on his face. He's just stone cold killer face.
Good poker player.
Yeah.
It's the best way to be, isn't it? I mean, the people that are that give so much away through their expressions, when you watch them, sometimes you just know when you've got them.
Yeah, it's great for us to watch as a tournament, though. You want people to show every emotion.
Yeah, yeah.
A good shot. He knew the red was going to act as a blocker to stop the cue ball.
Should be very straightforward now.
This needs to be low. It's absolutely perfect.
So there is one other game going on table 11 that you can watch if you wish to. It's Mark Asprey against Drew Hughes. Drew Hughes is currently leading 2-0. Those are the only two games. We're just playing a bit of catch up from last night. And the next session will be on at 11 AM with those winners' side games.
Yeah, Drew Hughes' wife is heavily pregnant. And that's why he forfeited in his first round. And we thought he wasn't going to make the second, but the hospital have said she's okay till Wednesday, so he got in his car and set off last night to come down. But I'd already said to his opponent, I said, I did believe that he wouldn't be coming back, so I had a chat with both players. I said to Mark, you're quite welcome to go through, and he said, no, under the circumstances, I fully understand why you made the decision.
Yeah.
And in fairness to Drew, he didn't say he was out the second support, so it was a little bit of me jumping the gun, and I think common sense prevailed on that. You see the short rack, and also our title sponsors of this event, the Liberty Games Open, and Sovereign Snooker Services, who do a fine job of the tables. And on the tables you need a cloth, and there's no better company than Strachan with the new branded cloth that they've got out.
So
just super fine.
Just mentioning the cloth, I hit a few balls just before play started today, and it's lovely to play on. It's like playing on ice. It's so fast and it's really responsive.
Well, that's the thing that when I spoke to Stuart Gardner from Strachan, they were really worried about, because I kept saying I want it fast, and they haven't got anything this fast in their other products that they do. They have the number 10, which is more for the heavier snooker ball, but it is extremely fine. And we did use that for a couple of events. But for pool, we needed to maintain the speed that the players like, and we didn't want a speed cloth without a nap. So, we worked hard, and we had to keep the ball responsive. That's what they wanted. They wanted where the cue ball would respond properly on the cloth, and that's why they kept it as a 100% wool cloth, where other cloths on the market are a synthetic.
Yeah. And available in green and grey?
Green and grey, yeah. I recommend the grey because I like it, but if you are a traditionalist, you can get it in the green.
So another decent chance for Wayne. And in a race to 8, this doesn't give Chris much in the way of latitude. He doesn't want to fall too far behind. So 3 frames to 1. And as I say, Chris can't let Wayne get away. If you know, Wayne may be lacking a bit of match practice, but he's got that muscle memory and that quality from years ago, and he can quickly reel off frames, as you've already seen.
Fifth frame, Chris Melling's break, trailing 3 frames to 1, time running.
So Drew Hughes now 3-0. And Chris getting frame number 5 underway. Another dry break. And if Wayne can find a clearance here, then it's looking ominous already.
Well, I said at the start of the match, I felt that Chris wasn't quite at the races, and I just can't see how he's going to win the match unless he...
I just want to just explore something with you, because there's something I noticed during the last event, that Chris has made a couple of runs, but when he's gone into the loser's side, it doesn't seem to go far in the loser's side. Is it kind of a psychological thing that, I mean, Chris is a very proud man, and he loves being in the limelight at the top of the game. So dropping into that loser's section sometimes can be like.
I don't think there's anything to do with that, mate. He's had terrible draws throughout. I mean, the players he's lost to are all good players. Darren Appleton, he lost in the losers' side.
True, yeah. I think he played Phil Harrison like 3 times last year, didn't he?
Then Callum as well. They played, so
yeah.
It took a good player to take him out.
True enough, yeah.
But these sort of matches, when you're playing somebody that's been away from the game, or somebody you expect to beat, because in Chris's mind he expects to beat everybody, but he knows if you let him out the blocks, then you know you give him confidence, and that's what he'll want to do.
Yeah. So just run out of position here a little bit, and he's going to have to play a really, really awkward little plant. And he's let Chris back in again. And these are, well, Chris should really be getting these, shouldn't he? All day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, you can clear the bottom end of the table at first, then just bring the cue ball up to the top of the table for the remaining yellows. Just have a perfect angle to come up.
Very nice. Just drifts the cue ball with a chaser's side.
He's absolutely plumb as well, because when he takes out, he can screw all the way up for the one on the rail. Must be off the
Doesn't
knuckle.
want to be knuckled. Just look for a second that it was drifting in on that knuckle, but he's fine.
Yeah, that's dot to dot now. That's it, all plant. 8 ball is slightly gaudy, but if he gets the right angle, that's a poor shot.
Yeah.
He's now going to have to go the other way, I think. No, he's still...
Can just drop it in dead weight.
Thought he might have to go the other way and come round, but he thinks he can drop it through. He's fine. Could hold it, which is the key part of that.
So that was a key frame, and Wayne lets that one slip away. He had his chance, right out of position, and Chris Melling takes full advantage, and then there's now just one frame in it at 3-2. So as we mentioned, not too much action currently. The club's pretty quiet. Just a couple of games in progress. It's going to be buzzing again at 11 o'clock. If you fancy joining us and you're in the area, then do come down and watch live. You can come down and experience for yourself as the atmosphere through Saturday goes on. As the play goes on through the day, the atmosphere tends to increase. And it's also a Grand National Day, so I'm sure you'll be showing that in the club later on.
It'll be on the big screen, or?
On the big screen. So, who's your fancies in the chat box? Do you have any fancies for the Grand National? I must admit, I've not really had a chance to look at the field. So,
well, I'm not a good gambler, so
any tips would be appreciated.
I've lost plenty over the time, so I don't tend to look now.
Yeah.
I've messaged Darren Schoen, who likes a punt, and he's pretty good on the National. He's done well on it over the last few years, so I'll read my text later and see if Darren's as lucky as ever.
Oh yeah. We'll have to find out who he's on. That's where my £5 going.
He's picked 3. He says he can't decide between 3, so they must be all decent prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if there is such thing as a good gambler, but he won a lot of money once, and he ended up buying himself a brand new Audi out of it.
Oh, wow.
before he spent the money. He had a good win. He said, right, okay, I'm not going to throw it all back to him. I'll buy myself something out of it.
Fantastic. That's the way to do it. Referee today under the spotlight is Sam Sprackman. Travels up from the West Country. The timekeeper is Simon.
Yeah, he supported a few of our events, and one of them and his friend did lots of commentary for us, so he must love his pool.
He absolutely does, yeah. I've played in the same team as him for over 20 years. He's a cue maker as well. Makes a really nice cue, actually.
So we'll give him a shout out. What's his brand of his cue?
He's Dr. Q.
Dr. Q.
Dr. Q. So he's only made about 25, 30 cues, but he's got a waiting list of probably about a year. But he's a very good cue technician as well. So what he can't do with a cue, I've seen him put back together snapped cues, and if someone knocks their ferrule off,
fair play.
Yeah, he's really good.
Good to have a talent like that.
Yeah, I've seen him put together a cue that somebody snapped in half, and you just couldn't tell. It was a perfect job. So people just probably missed the top of the show. They're asking about Wayne and his background. So Wayne comes from the London area. He'd have been an old adversary of Lee back in the day. He's been away from the game for some 20 years, but he's just refound the passion and the hunger to want to compete. And it's great to have him in the series. And as you mentioned at the top of the show, he was ranked #1 on the IPA for at one time in his career. So he was a real contender.
Oh, definitely. And the way he played the game, so attacking, how the rules were way back then, they were a very defensive set of rules. He stood out. His style of play was just not designed for that rule set. So you had to play his style of play at a very high level, and that's what he did. He packed in. I think he became a London taxi driver I don't know if that's still his profession, but that's what I remember from the time when he left the game.
Yeah. It's hard to find that work-life balance sometimes. I had Jack Whelan in the commentary box yesterday, and Jack, by his own admission, has been in the doldrums for the last couple of years and probably not been competing at the level that he wanted to compete in. And he said he got to a point at the start of this season, and he said to his wife, "I'm going to give it one last go. I'm going to really put the effort and the focus in, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to pack the game in, because I'm not getting out what I want to get out of it," which is quite shocking, really, when you think of someone of Jack Whelan's quality just wants to pack the game in. But he said he's been focused, he's been putting in the hours, practices every single day, and he's reaping the rewards.
Well, at the moment, there's quite a few events where there's some decent prize money, where for many, many years people have travelled the country playing on tours or individual events for peanuts, really, and
Yeah.
the cost of living does go up all the time, and the value to play for such a small amount of money just wasn't there, wasn't worth the time and effort.
Yeah.
You see, Chris having a good stud. He's not had a successful time with the break, so he's a clever pool player, so he'll try everything to get that winning formula from the break.
So I guess the dream for all of us involved in the game is to get to a point where we bring in enough sponsors into the game and there's enough prize money in the game where players can consider it to be a genuine option as a career. Because at the moment, a lot of these players are having. There's only 2 or 3 players, well, maybe just a handful of players that play it as a full-time job, as a true professional, because it's their profession, and there's so many that are trying to balance it up and have got a day job and are trying. Jack was saying he's been away like every weekend for the last 5 weekends, and that's okay when you haven't got kids, but when you've got kids, that's a telling feature as well.
The biggest problem we have is, I'd say in every pool event, I don't think of any other, certainly not in English 8 ball, where you're not governed by how many runners you get to what prize money you pay out. Until we get to a sponsorship level where the sponsors are putting in more, where the players become irrelevant, the amount of money they put in. Like in golf, players are paid to turn up. They're not having to pay. They might pay an entry fee, a very small one, but they're endorsed into these events, and until pool can try to get to that level where you're getting major sponsors chucking in hundreds of thousands of pounds into events, then it's always awkward, because people will look at the value. So if you're a lower ranked player, you're thinking you're going to be paying your money, and then the top players are going to take it, then you think, well, I'll go on the amateur event. So it's tough to convince people that the product that you're trying to put out there is where pool should be, and this is the only way we can attract big sponsors, by putting a production together like this with the players that we have. Yeah,
absolutely. Just keep doing what we're doing, and keep banging on the doors, and hopefully they arrive, because at the moment it's generally the people that are connected with the game, and it needs to be.
Well, they're the obvious people you approach. The table manufacturers, the ball manufacturers, the cloth manufacturers, they're all fantastic sponsors of our sport, but we also need to get out to the bottle companies, of the beer companies.
Well, the hotel chains as well. They can benefit from it as well.
Car manufacturers, people who've got plenty of money.
Yeah.
I think he's just hit a finger mark there as that was coming up. You can see the white just divert off.
Yeah.
But it was a poor shot anyway. He didn't need to be anywhere near that close to his work. He was careless. And this, I know we've been wittering on about different things, but this frame, both players had missed an easy ball the last 2 shots, and then Chris is now being let back in again, and I think he's left himself touching ball, so he has to play away. So he now needs to find a safe area of the table.
It's tough to find somewhere safe on this table as well, isn't it?
Well, Chris, he'll be trying something. I don't know why he doesn't just bounce off the side cushion and leave him exactly there.
Yeah. Hamper queuing.
Yeah. There's awkward places anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll probably do that when he's thought about it, but then Chris will be trying one of his exhibition shots to look. He's trying to pot off about 3 cushions. Yeah. If anybody can, he can, but I don't really see how there's a gap around those wall of yellows. Especially when you've got a jack up over the red. That's why he's looking to use the side rail first and come through the gap of the 3.
I mean, it's only...
Well, he's tried.
He wouldn't have been a million miles away if he hadn't got that flick.
The referee's just called a foul, but I don't think it was, because I'm sure he called touching ball.
He did call touching ball, it's not a foul. I think Chris just pointed that out to him.
So not only the players are making mistakes, the referees are not machines either. They can make the odd error.
Yep. As well as you can know these rules.
That's the same under any rule.
Of course
though.
it is. Yeah,
So
it is under any
just
rule.
a human error where he forgot that he called touching ball.
Yeah. I think also you're always. I mean, I wouldn't want to do the refereeing job, especially with a new rule set, because you're always thinking about. Your mind's always overactive, just trying to think. Right, hang on a minute. Just thinking about every single situation.
But the good thing about this particular set of rules is a lot of those finicky things which are in other rule sets aren't there, so it's probably a couple of things you've got to think about and remember not to revert back to old type of what you would do in another rule set. It's clear your mind, and these are a very simple set, always close to an off. Been a poor frame by both players here. Such quality, you wouldn't really expect him to be making these mistakes. But you'll see here, he has ball in hand. There's the only 8-ball set of rules that plays with the ball in hand. So I think it's a big change to the game, because your awkward ball you can attack straight away.
Yeah.
Well, I said I couldn't see how Chris was going to get back into it, how he's playing, but unfortunately for Wayne, he sort of let him back in the match.
Yep.
(4-3). I think we'll let both players off with the fact that it's an early morning start, and hopefully they're going to warm up in the second part of the match. Blues aside. It is only a race to 8. It's just at the halfway point.
Drew Hughes is now 7-0 against Mark Asprey.
I think he's in a rush just in case his wife goes back into hospital in labour.
It's not been a happy hunting ground for Mark Asprey this weekend, because he lost to Dom Cooney yesterday 11-1, so he's only picked up one frame in the couple of matches he's played. So it is a tough school.
Yeah, but in fairness to Mark, he's put his money down to compete at the highest level and play these top players, and I'm sure when he goes back to playing the lesser events, he will learn from that. So although he's not scoring frames at the moment,
it's a great experience for him, and as I say, if you're going to use it as a learning experience, you can take a lot away from it.
And what I like is the fact that you've got players that don't normally play against each other. Chris has probably never played Wayne Fryer.
Yeah.
And Chris has been around for God knows how many years. I know he's been off playing American pool, but to attract both players for different reasons is great.
That's no good.
That's an unlucky kiss, to be fair. He was jacking up, and it's a little bit of bad luck there. I think he had to rely a little bit on luck, and Lady Luck wasn't smiling.
Can he squeeze it? Obviously not on this shot, but if you can get somewhere on it, does it just squeeze in behind the yellow? One of those shots where you go cushion first.
Go cushion first, but I think he needs to. I'm not sure if he's trying to cut this in or play the double. He's played the double, played it well. He's now might be forced to play your shot if he can't get through to the other two.
He's not got too bad an angle to play the double now, has he?
No,
Cross double into the corner, or is it a bit? Is it double kissing?
He's a little bit high, so I think he's going to play the shot you suggested first and run the cue ball just on and off the rail, back over towards his hand. Just like that.
Very
shot.
Nice.
Left himself on choice of two. I think he's perfect on the one in the middle. He called the right shot, but just a shot too soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect position though. Should be okay to run off the cushion. Oh, I notice when he plays a lot with the low part of the cue ball all the time. Which I don't think he needed to though. I think that was more centre or top. See, Chris now just needs to think he doesn't need. He can just pick his way through and doesn't need to move that red out of the way. But certainly, with the rules as they are, it's not so much a big thing because you can play the ball onto the ball and leave the cue ball safe, or if it goes in, he carries on.
Yeah.
I'm sure he won't even go anywhere near that red. He'll just take his finish and weave the cue ball around. He's not plumb there.
No, it's just like the wrong side.
Yeah, he might have to just dab that in and go the other way, but I think I'd be going up the table now. Could be taking the one by the black and screw back up for the middle, or run over and leave the cue ball in the middle of the table. That's probably the better choice of shot, but he isn't. I think he is screwing back up. That's a right shot for me. Perfect. Dropping in the middle of the table, he gave him a choice of two. It's a good shot.
Yeah, lovely control. Cue ball on a string at the moment. Much better from Chris Melling, and much more what you expect from him. That free-flowing action, fast-paced around the table. This is when he's much more at his best.
Yeah, there's lots of errors and lots of chances for both sides. Whoever loses this match will be kicking himself. Anybody looking to get a new car? Our sponsors have got some great offers on there. Go onto their website, Central Vehicle Leasing will certainly look after you. Great company.
And Drew Hughes has completed that win, 8-0. Obviously now 5-3 to Chris, having been 3-1 behind, so that's 4 in a row for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was through his good play though. It's through errors really.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
A big break there though. It is an open table. The first ball he pots by choice will decide what group he's on.
So now this game is the only one in the arena.
Well, this is a tricky finish, and certainly when you're not particularly playing to your best. It's not the sort of layout that you want. You've got the red at the bottom of the table, which is guarded, and you've got the red nearest yellow at the top of the table, which is an angle where you need to be high on it.
Yeah. There is a gap that he can land on to get on that red at this end of the table, but it's finding the ball to get onto it, isn't it?
Like I said there, you needed to be high on it, and it's
Yeah.
landed low. So
Yeah.
now when he's playing his next shot, he's probably going to go around the world,
Yep.
pop the one in the middle and screw around a few. See, there he wants to get low. So is he forced to go long to get that angle?
I think he can manufacture it off the side rail. He can screw back.
I think he's got to go
Maybe.
long. I think he's got to go long to get that angle.
You're right. He's missed the pot.
And the pattern continues. First player in throws the table back over.
Yeah.
That was all the shot. I know he's missed the pot, but it was a shot before where he got the wrong angle and he was having to go to the well, and today there's nothing in that well.
Yeah, you see a couple of moments where he just starts free flowing and you wonder if he's just going to find it, but he's just not, just as I mentioned earlier, just not really at the races.
It's a battle. It's just getting to 8. That's the important part for both players here.
Yeah, and then go reset, go back to the hotel room for an hour and...
well, they're not going to take any confidence out of this match.
No.
It'll just be a case of, I'm glad I'm through, let's start again.
I mean, the good thing for these guys is they're not back in action now until 1 p.m. So, you know, Chris can maybe go to the hotel room and grab a couple of hours sleep, and he's probably tired if he didn't get
watch
in.
Wayne in the next round if he gets beat. Good positional shot there.
It doesn't get any easier for him because if Chris goes on and wins this game, he's got Clint Aronson in the next. So another tough one for him. Well, tough one for both players, obviously.
Yeah, don't get writing Wayne off.
No, of course, no.
You would just say they've really got to raise the standard to win the next round, haven't they? It's a good shot. Good punch positional shot. And this 8 to get back into the match.
Frame.
Referee calls frame, and he's back within 1. So, referee Sam Sprackman resetting the balls on this shark rack template. If you haven't used one of those shark racks before, or it's a new concept to you, it's definitely not new to the game of pool. It's been around for a number of years. They are widely used as a ball template in America and China, and it was this is a version that's been developed by Shane Conroy for English 8-ball pool. So it's just basically a thin film that sits on the table, and the balls, it has just very small cutout locators in it, which are worked out and calculated exactly where they should be to ensure all the balls are touching. So what it does is exactly that. It just ensures that all of the balls in the rack are touching. And there's no way that you can have any gaps like you would using a conventional triangle. Obviously, all of the balls touching ensures really good transference of power through the back of the pack, and you tend to see these wide open splits that you see before you now. And they do tend to break much more consistently, and I think it's probably one of the first times in the game where players can actually practice for a consistent break. You see them do it in China. They play a certain weight, and they almost guarantee a ball each time. Nobody's quite perfected that yet with the English game, but I think it just offers that level of consistency, because, you know, obviously with a conventional triangle, you might have sometimes you've got a gap between balls 1 and 3, and other times between 13 and 14 or whatever, and it just it offers all kinds of inconsistency. This guarantees that all the balls are touching. If you wish to buy one, then you can do so. They're widely for sale on eBay. You just need to search for the Supreme Shark Rack. I think they're about £9 or £10. Really good value. They last for a long time, and they normally split pretty well. You'll have noticed the referee just once or twice has had to mark a ball to get it off the table. Some players don't even mind leaving it on the table. When you watch the American version of the game, quite often they leave it on the deck. But with the slightly lighter balls, you probably recommend to remove it at the earliest convenient time. In the meantime, Wayne going about a really nice clearance here, and this simple black to make it 5 frames each and tie it back up again. And this game is one of momentum. Wayne was 3-1, Chris then came back to 5-3, now 5-all. And there you see that shark rack template. Very simple concept, but it really does work. Just takes a few seconds to set the ball, but when you become adept at it, actually, when you put a timer on it, it doesn't really take any longer than using that conventional triangle. Especially, you know, with the triangle, sometimes you can't get the front ball to sit on. You see the referee battling with it.
Frame. Chris Melling to break.
So Chris coming over to have a look at, and that's a habitual thing from the American game. They just come down to see if there's any gaps and how he expects the rack to break. He won't have found any gaps.
Or any pockets.
Or any pockets. He's gone dry. And now a real chance for Wayne. Reds look good here, don't they?
Yeah, you can't play the yellow onto the red because you have to hit the suit that you want to pot. So I'll be forced to taking the long one, I think, down into the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad an option though, because it lends itself to natural shape to get onto the ball that's slightly hampered near the bottom rail there. I think he's got a natural angle to stun across to, hasn't he? He's going to choose yellows, which.
I will look at the wrong suits.
Yeah. Well, I guess all the yellows do have a pocket.
Bar one, I would say. There's one which is a little bit awkward by the red, and as you can see there on the top right-hand corner, which is a bottom right from this camera angle.
It does go to bottom left, but
I think if he did get over and cannon the red on the right-hand side, it'd be absolutely plumb.
Yeah. Oh no.
again.
Just taking his eye off the...
Exactly the same as whoever gets in first can't get the finish.
Taking his eye off the ball there, for sure.
I'd like to get Wayne into the have an interview, and he has to win to do that interview, just to see his thoughts, and so people can get to know him and how it feels to come back into the game.
Yeah.
I'm sure from Chris's perspective, if he wins and comes in and does the interview, he'll be saying how bad he's played, but you know, he'll just be relieved, or either of them be relieved to get back in. That's another terrible shot.
He just seemed to rush that one a little bit.
They're just both struggling.
It is difficult, you know. As I say, there's it's the only table in action, as this was left over from yesterday's games. So it's probably quite eerily quiet in there for them as well.
Well, that's a bad shot straight away. He's got the wrong angle. Because he really wanted to attack the second yellow, which is nearest the red in the bottom right hand corner. If he had gotten upon straight on that, he could have run through. But now he's going to have to top it. And is he trying to flick it out? I'm not convinced he's got the angle to do that. I think he's going to come off the cushion and miss that. Oh, he can. Good shot. Has he got position though? Might be forced into a plant.
I think he can. Well, he's got a choice. He can take the plant, or he can go cushion first and take the one over the pocket. And the white ball should naturally come round for the one in the middle.
Yeah, the shot's there. Yellow is a little bit further away from the pocket, so it's not a gimme, but you'd expect him to get it.
And he does. He's played it at a good pace. I think he's pretty much back in A1 position. Got a nice angle just to drop the cue ball down.
Yeah, he just wants to make sure that he gets the right angle on this yellow now. He needs to draw the cue ball back. Straight or high is good. If he's low, he doesn't want to be too low, otherwise he'll have to check the cue ball. That's perfect.
Yeah, cued it well.
2 little drops for a lead in the match. It's been a while since he's been in front.
And a simple black to put it back with advantage to win Fryer. He needs 2 more. Chris needs 3. 6 frames to 5. Both players look pretty relaxed. You can never really read too much into Chris's body language. He's always fairly stoic. You can sometimes see a little shake of the head or a few facial expressions, but he won't be fazed by this at all.
Frame, Wayne Fry's break, leading 6 frames to 5, time running.
Another dry one.
We're just getting a couple of messages through asking how to find the link for the online betting. I'm just speaking at the moment with K8 to try and get a link so you can go direct through it, but the link that I have at the moment is the registration link, so just bear with us please, and we are trying to make it as easy as possible. And I'm sure with it being Grand National Day, they're all like snowed under taking bets as well, so we'll do our best to get it sorted, folks. Just gone onto the Players Pool Events Facebook page, and my right-hand man, Lee Grout, has just posted the poll has finished. The stream table will be Jake McCartney versus TC Tom Cousins.
What? Who's managed to fiddle that one? It was like 70 votes to 30 the last time I looked. All those Australians have woken up, haven't they?
They have. Time zone has come into effect. It's night time there. I'm sure they'll be wanting Jake on the big screen all around Australia. And to be honest, I'm quite pleased because I know the other one's a great match, but it's about growing 8-ball pool, and you know, for somebody like Jake to come all this way to compete in all the series, you know, it's massive for the sport, and certainly in Australia it might attract some more players to come over with Jake. Get Rusty over. Get
Rusty over for the event. He's too busy on Facebook, I think.
But you know, there's Robertson. There's I'm trying to think the others. I know his dad. I can't think of his first name now. Come on, guys, help me on the chat. It's coming to me. Might take me about 3 hours, but it's coming to me. Dallahunty is his surname. I can't think of his first name.
Mick.
No, Mick is his dad. And that's why I didn't want to say it. Mick, you know, played in the World Championship team that won the World Championships, the first Australian team to win it. But his son, I know, was #1 ranked in Australia. I think Jake's taking that title off him. Back to this one, 6 apiece, a big break, and the one thing he didn't want to happen was to lose a cue ball, because look at those, either really, I mean, you'd expect him to go the reds, but the yellows are not really hard, are they? And they are easy pickings, really.
James Dallahunty.
James Dallahunty, that's it. Has that just come through on there?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And they mentioned others, Justin Sajic.
Yeah, he's been doing well on the American pool.
Ben Noonan.
Benny. Be good to get Benny over. My Bartakis would go up if Benny was there. Big time Benny. He's still not forgiven me for a finish he had against me in the World Championships in the team semi. He put his pint down, turned around, he expected me to cover the pocket, and I went and got him. He says, in 15 years of watching you, Lee, I've never seen you go for a finish like that in your life. I said, never underestimate me, mate.
So this really should be Wayne Fryer on the hill.
The votes was 127 to 93.
Goodness me. When I looked last night, it was 51 to 11, and I woke up this morning and it was 71 to 48. So
Australia has woken up, folks.
yeah, they did.
Talking to big time Ben, he's put a post on Jake McCartney has a fan base in the millions down under. Surely he gets a nod. He does, but only because you voted for him.
Big shot.
Oh,
no,
body movement again.
Yeah.
That's, again, pattern of the match. I keep saying it, but they get in, they miss. At this stage of the match, you can't afford them misses.
That was a really makeable clearance. Should never be missing those.
Again, back to the old match practice, a little bit extra pressure that he's not used to.
Yeah.
Turn the clock back, he ain't missing them in a month of Sundays.
It just didn't seem convicted to the shot. It didn't seem committed.
Powerful shot there from Chris. So develops his ball. He knows he's been let off the hook. Normally the predator will come out now and pounce. See on the side he's putting on this one. Coming around the 3. Oh, it's a nice shot. That was a little bit awkward where there's 2 yellows where all of a sudden he's opened them up. He's going back around the houses again. I think I would have gone the one down the rail.
Yeah. As he's on it. I mean, he's right back on it.
He's not going around again, is he?
Yeah. It's almost like a little practice session.
This is a key shot though now because he's going to make the pot, but he just needs the right angle. Nice plumb, I think. Takes a middle yellow now.
Yeah.
Unlocks the frame. Stuns the cue ball. There you go. Stun down.
Yeah, there's no way that Chris is missing these.
He's shaking his head.
Yeah.
Can't see the camera angle. If Paul pulls his finger out, we'll find out. He has.
He's fine, isn't he? He's got a little angle.
He can dab it. He can dab it, but I think he's just worried about having to go around the houses again. No, he's not fine. He's far from fine. He might end up at the wrong angle, and then he chops one in the middle, and he cannons a red, and he's dead. So. He can definitely hold the yellow, but I think he will be the wrong side on the next yellow.
Okay.
And the cloth is super fine, as they say, so he can nip it. He's checking the life out of it. I don't like this shot because it'll reverse off the cushion. He's to hurry up. He's called his extension. I think he is still checking it. Is he going around the world? He's going around the world. There we go. And he's back to the same problem he didn't want.
Yeah.
He could have dropped it in and got there.
Yeah.
But now he's going to have to screw around the back of the yellow, back of the red. If he cannons any part of that red, he's not going to have a shot on the black. Can he flick it in with a little bit of side and come round? I think he may even be able to go natural, you know.
Tech Line just asking a question about, I think the discussion is about whether people would pay to watch the tournament, and I think there are an element of people who would, but I think it's counterintuitive personally. I think the whole point of streaming these and streaming them for free is to get out. He's slightly hampered a bit.
Like I said, he was always sort of going to go on the red, and that's why the second yellow from home, he was trying to go around the houses and get low.
Yeah.
And he's bridging. He could be thinking of his cue ball here more than the pot, because he's thinking, well, if I leave him a shot where he can't get onto the next red, all negative thoughts. I think he should just play the pot and just. To me, I just pet my line and just pot it.
I'll come back to that subject in a couple of seconds. Let's just watch this key shot.
I'd just be running through here, get the pot. He's had his extension in this one, so he has to play.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's nothing you can really say there.
No.
He's normally a killer, but he's not a killer today. He's only... Oh, I'm clutching at scores for him, really. He's going to stun on and off the cushion. He'll have the perfect angle, I think, if he pots the red. He's fine. Just run on and off. I think he would have liked another couple of rolls, but...
Yeah.
He could be running 2 cushions here for me.
Yeah, it's
absolutely fine.
It's a bit thin, but I mean, he can just focus on the pot, and just has to worry about the pace of the cue ball. Really,
2 rails for me.
Doesn't have to worry about the line too much.
There you go. Has he landed in between?
It's okay. Perfect. So it's Wayne Fryer that goes on the hill first. Yeah, just going back to that conversation a second ago, it was about whether people should pay to watch these kind of tournaments in, I guess, pay-per-view. But as I say, I think it's counterintuitive because the whole point of this is to get it out to as many people as we can for a number of different reasons. You
can see there. I mean, I don't know why he's whacked it so hard. I think he just, to me, I'd just top it through.
He had the countdown, I guess, and he was just in a bit of a hurry. Yeah, I mean, the sponsors want the maximum amount of coverage that they can get. We want the maximum amount of coverage for the players and for the event. So putting it on some kind of pay-per-view is just, as I say, counterintuitive to what everyone's trying to achieve. I think what needs to happen is the money needs to come from mainstream sponsors rather than from the viewers. I don't like the idea of pay-per-view in pool personally.
I don't think pool's at that level at the moment, though. You know, if we got to a stage where, you know, you got more fans at the moment, the people that watch tend to be just pool fans. But you know, if you watch snooker, you know, you're like old women that can't even play the game will watch Ronnie play and stuff like that until we get them characters out there and grow the brand. Yeah. The product isn't strong enough.
But even if it was, it's ultimately not what you want. You don't want 200 people watching a final paying 10 quid for it. You want 2,500 people watching it for free, because that's what your sponsors are paying for.
They are, and I say until we get to the level. Yeah. But I know in China they have a different way of looking at it. They have like a gratis where it's free to watch, but if somebody plays a good shot, they'll put a little 20p in, or
like a tips jar or something.
Like tips to watch it, and so it's a different mentality over there, and that could be a way where the players could earn money, and the tournament could go.
Yeah, that's really clever. In fact, there is a method of doing that in the UK now. It's called Twitch, and I know a lot of people. Twitch is generally used for streaming gaming.
Right.
They also use it for streaming kind of poker. I've seen up and coming bands that actually go on there and play jamming sessions. So, and people can drop them tips of any amount of money, like 50 pence or £500. So you can just drop them a tip.
Maybe something we need to look at then.
I mean, I think that's a.
Oh, Paul Mulder has just said he did it. He obviously made a fortune, didn't tell anybody. Bookie's not about Bookie's holiday.
And then,
how should we get 50p or a pound? We didn't get a single.
So
that's because you didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. So it's free. It's free to watch, and you have two options. You can voluntarily subscribe to the channel, which costs like $5 a month, I think. Or you can voluntarily leave tips. So it gives people the option, rather than saying it's mandatory that you have to pay for this. You give people an option. If they wish to leave a tip for what they're saying, they can, and it's got potential.
I think the important thing to say there, we would never get involved in anything like that unless it was something that was a benefit for the players in the tournament.
Exactly.
It's just what's a bad shot there? It should still be okay. It'd just be, I don't know. I didn't even think it was possible, but I know they do it in China, and I know the players that are playing the match, they get a cut from it. But I think it's a total different mindset over there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great shot. It's a great shot. To play that a little bit of right hand side to spin into the two yellows. Well, I think it's about right. They both have been poor by their standards, and oh, I thought he was going to give the frame away by moving the balls then. Both have been poor by their standards, and I think it's fitting that it goes to a deciding frame, and whoever's break it is, he'll probably break in this now after what's just happened. Yeah.
Incidentally, I just pulled up Twitch on my phone just to give Lee an introduction to what it was, and pulled up one of the streams that's on there, and there's a guy playing a fighting video game, and there's 54,000 people watching him play a video game, which 20 years ago, I couldn't have got my head around. I understand it now. You know, people. I mean, I've got a young lad. He loves watching people play video games. It's not my cup of tea, but I love watching people play pool. So, you know, it's on the same level. And those 54,000 people, they have an option to, if they want to tip the guy, or they can subscribe to his channel, and it offers a revenue stream. So, anyway, a key shot in the context of this game, deciding frame.
I called it before. It's probably going to stay in the same trait as the whole match, where the first person goes doesn't get the finish, but it's probably going to be where the one time where they need the break and finish is the one time in the match frame.
Yeah, yeah.
The do or die frame.
Well, if anyone can dig deep and pull it out of the bag, it is this man, isn't it? And
I think he is going to go Yallas here, Nick.
Both sets are tricky, aren't they?
You can go reds and make the plant, but I just don't like the two reds on the other side, because it's very hard to get position. But the 8-ball is not guarded in any way, so that's probably why I would go the yellows. He is going there, but I just don't like the two reds on the right-hand side.
Oh, he's got the angle straight away.
So what's his shot then, Nick, if you think he's got the angle? Which one? Is he going in the middle, or is he going the one coming round and going into the top red?
For me, well, he's going the one in the middle, but I like the one in the corner. Just to,
is he hard enough?
I don't think he's on it.
I just didn't like reds for that particular reason. Those two balls there.
For me, I'm playing the one in the corner with left hand side and swinging it across. Sorry, the one
Nick
to the.
is now pointing at the TV monitor and showing me the shot he wants to play.
The one to bottom left.
But it's not radio. We haven't got a webcam on.
I'm usually acutely aware of that, but here I am pointing at the screen. But I'm playing the one to bottom left and spinning the ball across to try and nudge the higher one of the two. I think it looked like a fairly natural angle to do that.
But I just didn't like the option, and he's looking now to flick off that one and make the cannon. But the benefit, and probably the reason why he didn't go yellows, is the two yellows below the 8-ball. So Chris could be in a great position here, because if he plays a shot, the two reds in, and he's trying to promote the red in there. But if you just lock the cue ball safe and develop this area, he'd be in total control. Wayne wouldn't have a shot. He's played it.
He played it as a bit of a two-way, didn't he? He was kind of half going for the plant in the right-hand pocket to flick the one in the left as well.
Like I said, he's in such a strong position, but it has followed the pattern of the match, and I shouldn't have thought somebody was going to do a break and dish, because they haven't looked capable in the whole match. It's been scrappy, to say the least, but adds to the entertainment value in a sense where,
really does.
Instead of watching people being robots, you can see the likes of Chris Melling, a great player. He is human. But it's tough here for Wayne, because he knows the one ball he's closest to, he is going to open the rack up if he takes that one long. And you'd imagine he would attack that ball, then run into the two yellows below the 8-ball and require a good kiss. He is going that way, so all eggs in one basket. He's playing the cannon as well. He could be stuck up against this yellow and the black and have no shot.
He's made it. He's stuck.
Called it.
Yeah.
Stuck up against the yellow. No shot. Let's see our replay. Great pot. It's tough to get a positional side out of that shot. You could play the shot probably 20 times and land once. So is he going to play can he clip it in? Has he got enough angle to play the clip? I didn't think he could. He can. But now
still in trouble.
If that red goes over, he's not covered him.
He does.
He's not dead, but I think he might have a blind cut into the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, that's all he has got.
And it's
horrible yellow.
Win or lose, all on this shot, because I think if he doesn't make the yellow, the cue ball's going to be tracking off the top of the table, and he'd have to be very lucky not to leave him on the red. And that's if he can see enough. I think he can. Again, you see that Wayne plays a bottom, screwing it.
No.
Again, I don't see For me, I wouldn't have played it with a screw. I would just pick my potting angle and got up there. He probably played it, and he did go full ball though. Chris is going to try and come through 2 cushions.
Stephen Mitzi asking if Mick Hill's going to be involved this series. He is. He's currently in Australia, so he's going to miss the first 2 events, but he's back for the remainder of the season.
Chris was a little bit fortunate there because he flicked the edge of the yellow and still was on the one at the top. Any thicker flick, it's easy for me to say. Oh, that's dangerous as well. Oh, he's okay. Well, there's been lots of errors, but there won't be another one now. It's going to be a win, and just falling over the line, Chris Melling.
And indeed he does. He wins 8 frame to 7. That was a really gritty. He'll just be happy to get across the line. He can go take a break now and have a bit of a rest, and he'll be back in the action against Clint Jansen. So you've already heard that next up on stream is the 11 o'clock game between Tom Cousins and Jake McCartney. That's going to be a really interesting matchup. And across on table 11 will be Phil Harrison against Jordan Shepherd. We're going to try and grab a few words with Chris Melling. He's not normally shy for coming in for a chat, so we'll get him into the interview room with myself and Lee. We'll see you across there in a couple of minutes, and we'll be back live with the action at 11 o'clock in the commentary box. So stick around for a quick interview, and we'll speak to you shortly. Chris Melling in the interview room. Chris, probably not a classic performance by yourself, but difficult game at 9 o'clock in the morning in a quiet arena, and you kind of virtually fell across the line in the end, didn't you?
Yeah, fortunate really. Waynes took out an unbelievable 2 shots in the last rack. I'm thinking, well, he's completely dead. But when I've rolled the ball, I'm playing it off the cushion, so that I can't fail if I hit the cushion. And it's just kicked and basically landed in no man's land. But I played a good shot really, because as soon as I put the red over the pocket, he's in big trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's potted 2 unbelievable balls, and he just shows the class of what Wayne Fryer is. And I mean, I can't really say was, because he's still got it. You know, he's been out of the game a long time.
Do you remember him from when he was up there? You were a young man, weren't you, when he was at the top of the game?
Yeah, I was 16, 17 when I first came on scene, and Wayne was the man. You had Wayne, Bill Owen, yourself, Brewer, Appleton, Morris, Phil Harrison, Twist. You know, there were so many great players. Tommy Donlan was just about stopping playing when I started. I played him a couple of times, but I mean, you can clearly see there that the class of what Wayne's got. I mean, he's been out of the game for a long time.
We were saying you could see how good he was, but it was hard. I mean, for you, in my eyes, were the favourite going into the match. And when you play a match where you're expected to win, and you know the class of the player that he is, you just want to keep him under pressure, don't you? Because you know he's going to be ring rusty.
Yeah, I mean, he's made 2 or 3 errors which he wouldn't normally make, and I did as well. To be honest with you, I'm knackered.
Tired.
Yeah, just, you know, I've travelled nearly 500 miles in a day.
Well, Nick was saying that it's not so much the 500 miles in a day. You've been to China, you've been in Gibraltar last week. I mean, for us as a series, it's important to get players like you in. it's difficult for you to keep mixing the sports and the disciplines, but we're pleased to have you in, and thanks for your support. But for you as a player, you want to play to your ultimate, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than when you read things online. I don't take much notice of what people say online, but I saw a couple of things last night that was like, Chris Melling can only play on big pockets, and I'm thinking, well, the tighter the pockets, I prefer them.
But you take things like that in a pinch of salt. I mean,
of course you do.
People, you only the negative comments always hurt you more than the nice ones, because the finish you took out on the 9 balls had so many million views, probably more than any finish ever, I would say. So there's that many people that are your fan. Don't let a very small minority posted something with no real creed to it.
Listen, Lee, it doesn't bother. I've seen it all before a million times, and it doesn't bother me. They want a reaction from me, obviously, but that's not going to happen with me. I've seen it so many times. But just happy to get over the line, obviously. Like I said, Wayne's a great player in his own right. He's won many a major title. So yeah, it's actually a pleasure to play him, because I don't think I ever played him when I was younger.
I said that I didn't know he was around when you were, but I knew that you've been around for a long time, and you went away to the American pool. But he certainly was like where you are now, as in a top player. He was that sort of standard. Yeah,
I mean, for me personally, obviously, I've not been on the circuit, on the English A-ball circuit, for a long time. So I'm not, I'm the first to hold my hands up, I'm not the player I was. But the longer I'm in the event, the more dangerous I'm going to get. Obviously, I'm getting used to the conditions, used to the different reaction on the cloth, the cushions. So everything is totally different. Obviously, the 9-ball balls and the snooker balls are heavier. So the reaction on the ball's totally different.
The cue ball's smaller.
Cue balls, so everything's totally different. The angles when you're coming out of snookers.
But you're probably one of the very few players in the world that can mix from one week to the next, because you're a very talented player. Where other players, it'd be more of a struggle, and probably take them 2 or 3 weeks to get back into a set, either a snooker or 9-ball or pool. You don't tend to have that problem, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky like that, really, because I've played all the cue sports all my life, and I've played them to a very good standard. But obviously, when I'm playing, I'm thinking, well, don't make any stupid mistakes. And as soon as you make one, you're thinking, here we go. But
that could be tiredness as well, though.
It definitely will, 100%.
You make those mistakes, you get frustrated. Where if you're in the right frame of mind, I said a few times, you didn't look focused, and I thought you could have lost early doors. And he made a few mistakes, let you back in. But whoever went for the finish first tended to miss the finish, and the other one got back in. It was.
Yeah, it felt like I was playing some good stuff, and something stupid had happened. I missed one ball when I was putting a touch aside on. I was like, how on earth has that happened? And it's going back to playing the American game. The ball spins quicker because it's heavier. Where with this cloth and what have you, and the balls, it spins a little bit later. So you've got to allow for that. But obviously in your mind, it's telling you it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Like you say, the deeper you go, the more matches you play, you will, it'll become more natural to you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to be at the tournament. I'm happy to still be in. I mean, the draws I've had for the last 18 months, they can't be any harder.
No, I think you've got Clint Anderson next. So
yeah, well, I think
another great player.
I think I've drawn Phil Harrison twice, Cousins, Appleton,
Callum a couple of times,
Farnsworth, Scott Gillespie.
Yeah,
I mean, you just can't really get much.
I think you had Scott Ross and one of them, and he had to pull out. So you could
have
had him first.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it would be wrong of me to say I'd like an easier draw, because that would be disrespecting players. But when you're drawing like the world's best, you think, give me a break. I'm back. I'm just new to it again.
Yeah. But it's just as tough for them. They look at the draw thinking, I've got Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Chris, I mean, you mentioned that you went away yesterday and did an exhibition last night. I mean, how do you balance it all up? Getting in the early hours, and it's not just that. Like as Lee mentioned a second ago, Gibraltar a few days ago, China last week. You're just constantly on the move. How do you keep going? I mean, when do you rest?
Well, it's my job. At the end of the day, I could be doing 9 till 5 for 200 or 300 quid a week.
Yeah.
I'm doing well. I'm making a good living.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's going to be some point where I can't make that living, so I've got to make it while I can.
Of course.
Obviously, it is tiring, and a lot of people, I'm sure you've heard it before, Lee, where it's not a real job. You're not working to 9 to 5, but it is. Because, I mean, they don't understand the tiredness that you get from playing.
Yeah.
The concentration levels will have to be 100%, and a lot of time they aren't, because of the tiredness, because of the jet lag.
And most of the events that you play in, you're only playing elite players. You know, you don't play in very many secondary events, so you're always going to be having to play at your premium, really.
Yeah, I mean, China 2 weeks ago, I was a runner-up last year, and I had to qualify this year, which it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I had to go there like 2 weeks early. Luckily, I got through. But again, you're playing 5 or 6 matches in 1 or 2 days, and you're completely drained.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm not the fittest bloke in the world, so you just take it out of you. And obviously, things need to change. I need to change my approach to the game. Really, it's not really the practice, because I mean, for me personally, English pool, I can get away with it to a certain point. But it's more the concentration levels that are affecting me more than anything else.
Yeah. Chris, I just want to touch on one other thing, and I know we had a conversation back in December during the last event about the Moscone. You were obviously bitterly disappointed about not making that team. Is there a plan now for this year's Moscone? Have you got a route to it? Have you got competitions that you're aiming for to try and get back in that team? Is that one of the goals?
Yeah, I'm playing all the European tours. I've got myself back up to number 10 in the world on the WPA rankings, so I get invited to all the big tournaments. But yeah, I mean, obviously last year was an unbelievable year for me.
Yeah.
Probably top 3 or 4 that's ever been in American pool. But yeah, you just got to keep taking each tournament as it comes, play well, and hopefully it's your day.
Just keep knocking on the door.
Well, it'll open eventually if you keep knocking on it. I actually said that to who did I say it to the other day? Alex Kazakis from Greece, he's lost in a lot of finals recently, and he did mess up, and he's the first to admit it. But if you keep getting to the finals, eventually you're going to win one.
Yeah.
And once you win one, I mean, Jason Shaw was the same. Jason Shaw got to 5, 6, 7 finals, and he kept losing.
Yeah.
And a couple of times he had chances, and then all of a sudden he won a few, and then the floodgates opened, and he's like the best player. Or he was the best player in the world. He's certainly top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just keep knocking on that door, it'll open.
So that's the aim for this year. You're good.
Yeah,
I'm booked up, ready to go. So can't wait to see you in that team.
Yeah, I love to play. Obviously, I've played twice. I've never been beaten the individuals, and every match I have lost has been 5-4 in the doubles.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a funny one, but obviously I've always been good in team events. I don't know why, but I mean Darren Apple, and I'll tell you, Lee, probably tell you for England, I always played well, and I don't know why. I guess it was kind of had a crowd watching, and they expect you not to miss a ball really. But lucky for me, I hadn't really missed too many balls when I've been playing team events.
So plan now, back to the hotel room, and a little bit of rest for a couple hours maybe before try and regroup perhaps before Clint game.
Well, I'm actually going to stay, get something to eat, maybe watch it, because I'm on again at 1 o'clock.
Of course,
I don't normally look, but I thought I better look this morning just to make sure, because end of the day, I mean, the draw I've got's just unbelievable. I think if I beat Clint, I think might be Liam Dunster or somebody like that. it's unbelievable.
He could have got beat last night, and he scraped through 8-7.
Well, that's the nature of the game, these days, in my opinion, the tables play a little bit easier than they did back in the day. And that's not because of the make of the table, that's simply because the conditions are so much easier and better.
Because we get so much, the balls are better, the cloth's better, the tables are made better, the lighting, all the equipment you're playing on now. I mean, I remember we were travelling around the country playing on, you could be on this brand, that brand of table, chips out the cue ball, anything. You didn't know what you were going to get.
I remember,
now you're playing professionally.
Yeah, I mean, I remember playing a pro event, and we used to play down to the last 8 players or last 16, and we used to have to go to pubs because it was sponsored by a brewery. I
can tell you many a story with that.
And this is unbelievable as well, because it was at Aintree, next to the Melling Road where I played, and I played Nicky Parnell in a pro event, and obviously it's Grand National today, and I'm playing, and I've ended up beating him. I think it was 9-6 or something, and there was a certain part of the table where I couldn't get in for the wall.
I was the same, that's what I was going to say.
and after the match, this guy's gone, oh, you could have just opened the door. There was a door there. I never even saw it. You could have opened the door.
With your backswing.
Especially my backswing, it's like the longest backswing in the world.
Yeah, but that's just, you were going into pubs and they weren't giving you any conditions. And some of the times you didn't even want you in there. We want to play our match now. Can you hurry up, you two? It was unbelievable.
One of the funniest things I actually remember, and it involved you, was I played you in the quarter-final to go to China in Nottingham, and you'd been there about 40 minutes before practicing, and I've turned up with a couple of my mates, and you've gone, because we always have a bit of banter, don't we? And you've turned around and gone, you're not going to pop many balls on here, this is tight, and you were trying to put a ball down the cushion, and you must have had 10 goals, and you didn't get it, and I just put up and smashed it in first shot. I went, nah, they're not that tight, Lee.
He's going to be all day then.
He's too used to covering him, that's the problem.
I mean, obviously, times changed, though, the rules have changed, and like Lee says, the conditions have changed, so it's more attacking now, there's not too much safety, which is good for the viewers.
Absolutely. Chris, always a pleasure to talk to you, and great to reminisce as well and hear the old stories.
Cheers,
so best of luck with the rest of the tournament, and we hope to see you in the latter stages.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much to Chris Melling, and we are back with the action at 11 o'clock with a fantastic game between Jake McCartney and Tom Cousins. Do join us for that one.
Can we zoom